Thank you to all of those who came to the Nats Chat Hangout at Walters. Stay tuned for details on the end of season party we'll hold there in October. Walters is the official sports bar of the Nats Chat podcast, located across the street from the ballpark.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
The 2-2. Swinging a fly ball driven right center field. Isbel on the go. Back to the warning track. Running out of room at the wall, and it's gone. Paul DeJong goes opposite field to right center. That one between the 410 and 387 marks, and the Nationals jump back in front 4-2.
Cavalli's ready. The right-hander kicks, delivers. Fastball hit in the air to deep left field. Wood going back, way back. It's going, and gone. Goodbye. Off the back wall of the Nationals bullpen and dropping down into the pen. A 2-run homer for Salvi Perez, his 21st of the year. And we have a brand new game again here at the bottom of the 6th inning with nobody out. It's the Nationals 4, the Royals 4. Here's the pitch. Swinging a long drive to right field. Way back goes Lile at the wall, and is gone into the Royals bullpen. A line shot laser beam of a home run off a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right over the heart of the plate. Kyle Isbel doesn't hit many. That's just his 4th home run of the year. And the Royals lead for the first time of the game. It's Kansas City 6 and Washington 4.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. The Nationals on Monday night in Game 1 of a 3-game series at the Kansas City Royals held a 4-2 6-inning lead. Starting pitcher Cade Cavalli had allowed just 2 runs in 5 innings in a second consecutive encouraging start. James Wood, Josh Bell, Paul DeJong all remain hot. Things were looking good. And then the rest of the game happened. A 7-4 loss at the Royals in a game in which the Nats blew that 4-2 6-inning lead and fell to 47-71 in MLB's 2025 regular season. Worst record in the National League East, second worst record in the National League. You can find us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a website that you can check out, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can buy a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt, the likes of which we saw on the MASN telecast of this game on Monday night. Sir, whoever you are who was at this game wearing your Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt, we say thank you. Thank you for spreading the good word. Mark, if ever there was a Nats starting pitcher who needed to exit his outing on a high note, that pitcher was Cade Cavalli on Monday night. What happened in this game with him was tough. Like I said, 2 runs in 5 innings. It was at that point in the game that I said to myself, I'm guessing many people listening said to themselves, all right, get him out of the game. 2 runs in 5 innings, a nice, acceptable final line, makes for a second consecutive encouraging start. Now, I get the thinking from Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo, the Cavalli pitch count was not especially high, but the bottom of the 6th happens. Cavalli faces 3 batters, gets no outs, including giving up a 2-run homer by Salvador Perez to left field to tie the game at 4. And so, unfortunately, 2 runs in 5 innings became 4 runs in 5 innings.
Yeah, I see both sides of the argument on this one. In a perfect world, yeah, you'd love to just pull him right there and say, hey, nice job. You got through that 75 pitches in 5 innings. And if you want to baby him like that, that's fine. I understand the logic behind that. But I'll say this. He threw 88 pitches in his return last week in fewer innings because he was much less efficient, but he did throw 88 pitches. And the whole idea of keeping him in the minors as long as he was, in part, was to build him up so that he was on a full starter's workload by the time he got here. So I think he still had plenty in the tank. I don't think he was exhausted or anything like that by the time he took the mound for the 6th. And then the other part of the equation, and you have to acknowledge this, is the state of the Nats bullpen. Do you have 4 relievers you can trust to give you 4 innings to close out that game? Probably not. And whether it was Jackson Rutledge, and we can talk about the decision to use him in a high leverage spot, or anybody else that Cairo brought in, if that reliever comes in and gives up the lead anyways, are we saying, why didn't he let Cavalli come back out? He only had thrown 75 pitches. So I see it both ways. If you have a deeper bullpen, I think it makes more sense. I don't think it's the end of the world to push Cavalli a little bit, give him a chance to come back in the sixth, see how he handles the situation. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him or the team, but maybe there's some experience gained from that that'll pay off down the road.
You hope. I just would say I think Cavalli's development supersedes the outcome of the game. And so if you lose the game because the bullpen blows it, fine. But Cavalli is a guy, I think, who especially needs confidence. I mean, as we discussed, this is not someone who was killing it at AAA Rochester. He got promoted basically out of necessity, more so than out of him having earned the promotion. Does well in that first start, is doing well in this start, and it's like, okay, can we just put this off to the side now, feeling good about himself? And instead, things fell apart. Now, they fell apart because he did not pitch well in that sixth inning. I get that. It just was a shame to me that we end up looking at 4 runs in 5 innings instead of 2 runs in 5 innings. He gave up 7 hits, a home run, and 6 singles. He issued 3 walks. He recorded 3 strikeouts, 88 pitches, 50 strikes, 38 balls. Overall, how did you think he did in this second start since being brought back up?
Well, let's be clear. The stuff was not as good. He did not have the swing and miss stuff that we saw from him in his return last time. Last time out, he got 19 whiffs on 52 swings. Really impressive stuff. In this game, it's only 7 whiffs on 37 swings. And he admitted that it wasn't as sharp. He was behind in the count a lot more, didn't have that put away pitch the way that he did. I think you also give the Royals a little bit of credit, especially in that second inning when they scored the first couple runs off him. They did a nice job of just getting the bat on the ball, like an opposite field single here, another one there, an infield single. It was not a lot of loud contact off him. So even though he wasn't racking up strikeouts, I thought he actually showed something over those 5 innings that he can be effective without the swing and miss stuff. So I think that in a way was important for him. And then by the time you get to the 6th, the home run by Salvador Perez, it's a sinker down and in, it probably right on the corner of the strike zone. It's not what you would normally think of as a bad pitch. And Cavalli himself said that, like, that was the plan. He executed it. He felt good about the way he threw that pitch. The problem, as he also acknowledged, is Salvador Perez has made a career out of turning on a pitch like that and ripping it down the left field line and over the fence. This is a potential future Hall of Fame catcher for the Royals. So he was giving more credit to Perez than anything. He felt good about the pitch that he threw, even if the result was not great. So I think it's an important start for Cavalli because everything was working for him last time out against the A's, and that was great to see. But as we've talked so much about Mackenzie Gore and others, how do you do when the stuff isn't as good? And really for 5 innings, he still was effective and did a good job, despite the fact that his stuff wasn't as sharp as it was a week ago.
Salvador Perez, age 35 season. Feels like this is his age 112 season. The guy has been around forever. I will say this about Cade Cavalli. 2 starts back, and I think there has been a lot more to like than to dislike. And nobody knew what to expect with him being brought back up to the majors with that ERA over 6 for Rochester this season. So far, he's done pretty well. And, you know, even with him giving up the 2-run homer to Perez on Monday night, I don't think that takes away from the fact that there is reason for encouragement here. He's doing a pretty good job. Clearly, we're going to see more. We should see more. And just hopefully he can keep building on this. But I like where he's at right now. This, I think, all things considered, is going the way that you would want it to go.
Absolutely. He's still throwing in the upper 90s with the fastball, so there's that. He has looked healthy, knock on wood, with no issues at all, thrown a decent number of pitches. You know, as I said, was able to get himself out of some jams with some minimal damage in this game. So I think this was a really important start for him because he had all the emotions of that return last week that he'd been building up towards for 3 years since his only other big league start. Well, now you got to settle into that 5-day routine and just become a big league pitcher. And he did fine. So I think that's important, an important step for him to get past that, the hoopla of the return, and now just settle into a 5-day routine. Now, the next one is going to be really important because that's going to be against the Philadelphia Phillies. And he's not facing the A's or the Royals anymore. He's facing Kyle Schwarber, and Bryce Harper and a bunch of other Trey Turner, a bunch of other really, really good hitters on a team that's right in the middle of a pennant race. And so that could be very telling of how he handles that. And it's going to be fascinating to see how the stuff plays against some really elite major league hitters.
Yeah, his next 2 starts, in fact, project to be against the Phillies. The Nats have a 4-game series against Philadelphia at Nationals Park this Thursday through Sunday, then a 3-game series against the New York Mets at Nats Park August 19th through the 21st, and then a 3-game series at the Phillies August 22nd through the 24th. Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation. Summer is starting to wind down in the DMV. Your air conditioning is working overtime, just trying to keep your house and you cool and comfortable. What can you do to make a difference? Well, you can replace your old or builder-grade windows with windows from Window Nation. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the following deal that you're about to hear about here on the Nats Chat podcast. This month only, you can schedule a consult and get 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could even get your windows with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. Tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you. Window Nation windows are outstanding. They are custom made from high quality materials with precision fit. Bottom line, your home stays comfortable year round. Window Nation windows are even available in over 1,500 styles and colors. So you'll get the windows that you want to protect and beautify your home. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and over 3 million windows installed, you can trust Window Nation for quality and service. Hurry, this 50% off all windows sale ends August 31st. So don't miss out. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. Schedule your estimate and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
1-0 delivery. Swing a line drive deep left center field, giving chase Lofton. This one way back over his head. It may go, and it's gone. It clears the 387 mark in left center field. Josh Bell continues to stay hot from the right side of the plate. Nationals jump in front 2-0 on Bell's 15th home run of the season. A line smash right over the 387 mark, out toward the fountains beyond the bleachers in left center.
The Nats offense in the 7-4 loss at the Royals on Monday night was good, but really should have been better. The Nats scored 4 runs, but really should have scored more. 9 hits and 4 walks, you like that, but 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. There were opportunities to score many more than the 4 runs. The 9 hits were 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 5 singles. The Nats have been back to hitting some homers here lately. It's been really good to see that. Also has been really good to see James Wood. He, for a 4th consecutive game, was impactful offensively. Wood was great in the Nats winning 2 out of 3 games at the San Francisco Giants over the weekend, and he on Monday night had another good game. He is the Nats starting left fielder and number 1 batter, 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a walk. So maybe, just maybe, we can say that the slump is in fact over. 4 consecutive good games for James Wood. 2 Nats players who were very good over the final 2 games at the Giants over the weekend were very good on Monday night. Talking about Josh Bell and Paul DeJong. Bell as the Nats starting DH and number 4 batter, 1 for 5 with a 2-run homer. He and the Nats 2-run first had a 2-out 2-run homer to left center field for a 2 2-0 Nats lead. The homer going a projected 422 feet per StatCast. Josh Bell now has his OPS up to 736. This off it being at 640 as of the end of June. And Paul DeJong, he is the Nats starting third baseman and number 3 batter, 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer, a single, and a walk. DeJong in a Nats 2-run fifth, a 1-out opposite field 2-run homer to right center for a 4-2 Nats lead. That homer going a projected 418 feet per StatCast. DeJong for this month of August, OPS of 1,068. So James Wood, Josh Bell, Paul DeJong, 3 heroes from the weekend, all 3 producing in this game.
Very nice to see all of that. James Wood not striking out in the game. That's very nice to see, given how much he has struck out here of late. And with DeJong and Bell, as Miguel Cairo kind of laughed afterwards, he says, they're making it tough on me. I don't think he necessarily intends to play these guys every single day in the heart of the lineup, especially in DeJong's case. But when they're producing like this, it's hard to take them out of the lineup. So we'll see how that goes on Tuesday. But as you mentioned, there were opportunities for them to do more in this game. And I look at the bottom of the lineup, for one thing, a lot of at-bats with runners in scoring position for Luis Garcia and Jacob Young did not come through. And C.J. Abrams had a really ugly game at the plate, struck out in his first 3 at-bats, and they were all uncompetitive at-bats, swinging at some slop being thrown up there. And so that was disappointing. You know, I know we've had discussions about Jacob Young and the offensive struggles there. It was a bad game for him, 0 for 4 at the plate. It feels like he keeps coming up with a chance to do some damage with guys on base, guys in scoring position, and he hasn't been getting it done. So I looked it up, and I was stunned to see that with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this year, coming into this game, Jacob Young's OPS was 880. Like, how in the world did that happen? That's not just singles. That's like drawing walks. That's actually some doubles, some power from him. I feel like we haven't seen that in a long time from him, but the numbers suggest, I know it's a fairly small sample, but the numbers suggest he's actually been excellent in those spots. He certainly wasn't in this game. And I feel like on this trip, he keeps coming up in those kind of situations and has not been able to deliver for them.
That is a stunning stat because Jacob Young has been a terrible offensive player this season. I mean, let's just say it. Jacob Young's OPS for this regular season is 555. His slugging percentage is 263. He hits for 0 power. That really is a jarring stat. You know, I have conflicting feelings about Bell and DeJong right now. I'm guessing a lot of people do for exactly what you talked about. You know, these guys, veterans on 1-year contracts, roads to nowhere, doing well, good for them, but it doesn't mean anything in the big picture. And, you know, you think about someone like a Robert Hassel III, he's not getting regular plate appearances. And look, Daylen Lile is performing well, so I'm not saying Hassel should be playing over Lile, but Hassel certainly could be DHing some, and we're just not seeing that here right now. And so it has been tough to see in that regard. You know, maybe even if these guys do stay hot, you have to bench them and just to get Hassel plate appearances. I mean, I think that's something that Miguel Cairo needs to be open to. I do, though, want to highlight Lile. Lile is doing really well here. Daylen Lile on Monday night as the Nats starting right fielder and number 7 batter, 2 for 4 with a double and a single. He, for this month of August now, has an OPS of 882. The Dylan Cruz minor league rehab assignment is continuing. I know it had been discussed, hey, when Cruz comes back, who gets shipped back to AAA Rochester? A few weeks back, you might have thought it was Lile. No way you're demoting Lile now with how well he's doing.
He's done a nice job at the plate. In the field, it's still been a lot of issues in right field. He's played a lot against lefties here lately, and I was surprised at times that he's been in the lineup against them, but he had a double tonight off Bailey Falter. He's had some good quality at bats. He's got a high percentage of extra base hits, I feel like. He's got, I think, 11 doubles now and 4 triples. So when he does hit, he's doing damage with it, which has been nice to see. I agree. I don't think you necessarily say that you need to send him down. Dylan Cruz, by the way, he's going to play again Tuesday and Wednesday, 9 innings apiece at Rochester. That will be his 12th and 13th rehab games. I asked Miguel Cairo about it before the game. He basically said, everything's been good. He's healthy. It's just about his timing. It's the word he kept using, presumably getting his timing right at the plate, although he hasn't been bad of late at the plate. In theory, he looks good Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe he's called up and we see him Thursday when the team returns home against the Phillies. If not, the good news, I suppose, is that you're limited to 20 days on a rehab assignment if you're a position player. So by the end of this week, that's it. Either he's hurt again and you have to recall him from the rehab assignment, or in theory, you can option him to AAA. I don't think they're about to do that. But worst case, we should be seeing him in the big leagues next week, if not sooner than that. And then they have to confront this question. Maybe there's an argument to carry all the outfielders. Jose Tena is on the roster and barely playing. DeJong's been playing so well, he can cover the 3 infield positions. Maybe you say we're going with 5 outfielders and only 1 backup infielder and find a way to get people at bats that way. We'll see. I think that's possible. I and a lot of people would like to see more of Hassel. I asked Cairo about that on Monday before the game, and he basically said he didn't play him as much in San Francisco because of the huge outfield there and felt like that was a tough spot to put him into, and Young in center made a lot more sense. With 2 righties coming up here in Kansas City the rest of the series, he kind of hinted that he intends to start Hassel in these next 2 games.
Yeah, get him plate appearances. This is not about developing Paul DeJong as well as Paul DeJong might be doing. This is not about developing Josh Bell as well as Bell might be doing. By the way, you mentioned Abrams having a really rough game on Monday night, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Josh Bell's OPS, I mentioned it, is now at 736. CJ Abrams' OPS is down to 780. Josh Bell is closing in on CJ Abrams for number 2 among all qualified Nats in OPS for this regular season. James Wood is number 1 at 846. Abrams is number 2 at 780. And Bell is at 736. Isn't that something with how well Abrams had been doing, how poorly Bell had been doing, that gap now has been narrowed considerably?
It's going to be fascinating where this all ends up at the end of the year. And it's funny because you tend to remember how guys started and think that that's reflective of the season that they've had. And very often, by the time you get to September, you look up and say, well, hang on a second. This guy's better than I thought he was. Or this guy's worse than I thought he was. There's a reason they play 162, as they like to say. And water always finds its level in the end. And wouldn't that be something if Josh Bell ends up with the second highest OPS on the team? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. You'd really like to see Abrams get hot again towards the rest of the season. You'd like to see Luis Garcia, who has cooled off somewhat, get back up there in the 700s as well. But as long as Bell's hitting, they will take it one way or another. It's been a very nice development, and just on a personal level, nice to see him do that.
Bell's on-base percentage, in fact, is better than C.J. Abrams, 332 to 329. You mentioned Luis Garcia Jr. He was back. He on Monday night returned from a 3-game absence caused by back tightness. He is an at-starting second baseman and number 8 batter when 0 for 3.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Rhythmic applause for 17,568 here at Kauffman Stadium. The set, the 3-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball toward the whole left side. It's cut off by Garcia. He whirls and he fires, and it's in time to get Bell, and the game's over. Royals win it 7-4. Estevez nails down his 30th save of the season, and the Royals take game 1 of the series.
The Nats relief pitching in this 7-4 loss at the Royals on Monday night. Not good. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 3 runs in 3 innings. Jackson Rutledge, 2 runs in 1 inning. He and the Royals 4-run 6, faced 5 batters. Got 3 outs, but 2 of the outs came on a double play, and he gave up a homer, a 2-out, 2-run homer by the Royals' number 9 batter, Kyle Isbel, to right field for a 6-4 Royals lead. Clayton Beeter tossed a perfect bottom of the 7th with 2 strikeouts. Orlando Revolta officially allowed 1 run in a third of an inning. He in the bottom of the 8th faced 3 batters but got just 1 out. And Shinosuke Ogasawara in the bottom of the 8th faced 3 batters and got 2 outs, one of which was a 1-out RBI sac fly for a 7-4 Royals lead. But pretty clearly what stands out the most is Jackson Rutledge. You look at him now, 13 home runs allowed in 53 and a third innings. No pitcher on this staff has had the kind of home run problem that Jackson Rutledge has had this season. That is a whopper. 13 homers allowed in just 53 and a third innings of work.
And they are usually pitches right over the heart of the plate, which is a problem. This is a guy who has not pitched in hardly any high leverage spots. Maybe early in the year, he was used a little bit in that like 6th, 7th inning role. He hasn't been there in quite a while. And I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, were wondering why he got the assignment there in what was now a tie game in the 6th inning of this one. As Cairo said, he's got to use everybody that he has. He doesn't want to just rely on 3-4 relievers. Now, let's be clear. They don't really have any proven high leverage relievers at this point. I think we've seen that Ferrer and Henry and Pilkington have sort of ascended to the top 3 spots just in the last week or so. But as Cairo puts it, I've got to be able to trust all my guys. And so he put Rutledge into that spot. It did not go well. He did get a double play ball that you thought was a good sign. Maybe he's going to get out of this. And then he's facing the bottom of the lineup. And it's a 2-out single to the number 8 hitter, and then a 2-run homer to the number 9 hitter on a pitch right over the plate. This guy's got an ERA over 6. It has been in the 5s and the 6s for pretty much most of the season. I understand you want to give him one last shot to show that he can maybe be something for you after failing as a starter. But at some point here, you have to just see what the performance is and say it hasn't happened. And I don't know if there are better options out there, but at this point, Rutledge has not brought a lot to the table, unfortunately, in his first season as a big league reliever.
There was something poetic about the Nats' 2020 first-round pick, Cade Cavalli, being relieved by the team's 2019 first-round pick in Jackson Rutledge. And Rutledge is exactly the kind of player who I think about when I think about if an external person is brought in to run Nats baseball ops especially, that person could look at a Jackson Rutledge and just pull the plug and say, enough's enough. This isn't working. Failed as a starter, had a really bad season here as a reliever. Like, we're not chasing this anymore. And that's how bad Rutledge has been. Like, I'm not rooting for him to be gone here, but like, if you're being honest about this, failed as a starting pitcher, is given an opportunity this season as a reliever. And it's not just that he hasn't been good. He's been really bad. The ERA well above 6, has had this big time home run problem, has some strikeouts. I guess you could say that, but I don't know what there is worth pursuing anymore at this point with Jackson Rutledge. Like, I do think you have to wonder about his future with the ball club in terms of how poorly things have gone this season and what is left truly to explore with him as a pitcher for the Nats.
Yeah, it does feel like at the end of the season, it's going to be kind of day of reckoning for him. And you're right, maybe Mike DeBartolo has a different opinion than somebody else might take over, or maybe DeBartolo himself, if he gets the job, is going to say, okay, it's time to cut bait, not just with him, but perhaps some others in the organization who are on the 40-man roster that just have not panned out for one reason or other. I feel like if he was showing that he could be counted on to be a long reliever who just churns out 3-4 innings when you need it and keep a game relatively in check, that'd be one thing. But he really is just pitching 1, sometimes 2 innings. So it's not even like his background as a starter is helping him to provide any kind of length out of the bullpen. Those innings have been going to guys like Shinosuke Ogasawara, who's been okay in that spot. Rutledge really hasn't even seized that opportunity to be what, quite frankly, is typically the last man standing in a bullpen anyways, the long man, the mop-up man. Instead, he's just usually when they're trailing, go out and give us an inning at some point. And in this case, got a chance to pitch in a tie game and left it with them trailing.
Some Nationals prospects news. A new top 100 prospects list from MLB Pipeline has come out, and the man who the Nats took with the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 MLB draft, shortstop Eli Willits, he debuts as the number 18 overall prospect in baseball. Great to see that. The Nats have 3 top 100 prospects per Pipeline. Eli Willits at 18, starting pitcher Travis Sykora, number 46, and starting pitcher Jarlin Susana at number 73. And also one of the Nats' top pitching prospects, Alex Clemmey, reportedly is being promoted to AA-Harrisburg. If you go by the Pipeline rankings, he's the Nats' number 3 pitching prospect, with Sykora 1, Susana 2, and Clemmey 3. So Clemmey being at Harrisburg now leads you to think that he could be making his major league debut perhaps as soon as some point next season, right?
That'd be pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, he is a young guy. One of the players, along with Jose Tena, acquired in the Lane Thomas trade, and he's got really good stuff from the left side, and a young guy, but he really dominated the lower levels. He just turned 20 last month. So, but I mean, you look 2.47 ERA at single A, was good when they got him last year in low A ball, now at double A. It's possible, stranger things have happened, that you wouldn't think a guy that young would be big league ready already by next year. But if he has success at Double A the rest of this year, and even if he repeats that to start the year, you could see him at Triple A before long. And yeah, for as much as we've talked about Sykora and Susana maybe being a little further along, Alex Clemmey is definitely a name to keep an eye on, and maybe we do see him sooner rather than later.
Alex Clemmey, his lineage goes back to John Lester's time with the Nats, right? Because the Nats traded John Lester to get Lane Thomas in 2021, and the Nats in July 2024 traded Lane Thomas to the Cleveland Guardians for 3 prospects: pitcher Alex Clemmey, shortstop / third baseman / second baseman Rafael Ramirez Jr., and infielder Jose Tena. So we'll see what happens with Clemmey. Not a top 100 prospect in the sport, but one of the Nats' top pitching prospects. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. Hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the podcast. Hit up the man who runs the show, Tim Shover. See what we can do for you. Again, the email address natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
The bases loaded this year. The Rays have hit .333. They have hit 3 slams. The pitch swung on and popped up. Playable shallow right. Mercer out. Soto coming in. Soto moving in to his right. Makes a one-handed grab, and the inning is over. John Lester walks the tightrope, and a little Houdini act. He gets to the other side.
Rogers fires, and a swing and a fly ball, well hit to right center field. Back on this one goes Sanchez to the warning track, looking up, and it is gone. It just clears the big wall in right center. A home run for Lane Thomas, and the Nats lead 2-0.
With the 58th pick of the 2023 MLB Draft, the Cleveland Guardians select Alex Clemmey, a left-handed pitcher from Bishop Hendricken School, Warwick, Rhode Island.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.